Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. Well, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Dunn, President and COO of the Auntie Anne's franchise opportunity. And Auntie Anne's has over 1,100 franchise units and is best known for its freshly baked, hand-rolled pretzels. And today we're going to be discussing how franchises choose Charities, as well as the Auntie Anne's franchise opportunity, coming up on segment 2 of Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. Get 3 months of free advertising when you sign up for our 1-year package. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
Hey, I'm doing fine, Marty. How are you this week?
Good. Same here. It's, do you know what number show this is today?
I'd say 248.
Ah, you're a genius. There you go, 248. It's hard to imagine, right? It's a couple of shows away from 250 and 5-year anniversary. And, just when I finally got that intro down, Don, of 4 years, of hosting Franchise Interviews, now I'm going to have to start saying 5 years. So It's going to take me a couple months to get used to. But, we have an interesting show today, don't we? I know you know these guys.
Yeah, Bill Dunn, COO of Auntie Anne's, over 1,000 units, great franchise. I've go to the franchise a lot myself. I'm here in Central Jersey. I have several locations in malls and outlet malls, and I'm a big fan of the product, interested in hearing about their history, and going to be talking about a few different things about how franchises choose charities, and should be a good show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know you guys have been involved a lot with, in charities and things like that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that because this is something a little different, Don, and it's about time we've done a show like this as well. So, yeah, looking forward to having, and I think they're from the Lancaster area, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
Pennsylvania
in your
franchise.
area.
So
right,
Pennsylvania. It's always good to have a local franchise on the show, So that should be interesting. Next week, we have an interesting show, too, as well, don't we? It's I've been doing a little more research on these guys, learning about them every single week, because when I started mentioning to our audience that Cafe to You was going to be on our show, I didn't know a lot about them. It says Cafe to You is proud to be a pioneer in the mobile cafe industry. And you were mentioning this last week. They're from Australia, aren't they?
Right.
Let's see. Cafe to You launched its first prototype mobile coffee business in the year 2000 on Sydney's northern beaches. It was the first vehicle that the mobile cafe concept and potential profitability of this new style of mobile coffee business model were tested. As I was researching this, Don, I wanted to kick myself. I said, geez, why didn't I think of something like this? I mean, you and I are both entrepreneurs, right? And
right.
I said, what a great idea. I love this whole business model. It seems fascinating to me. And
that's why our show is international. It's franchising is worldwide. That's why we started FranchiseWorldRadio.com. Franchisors, developers, suppliers can have their own radio show, and this is why we did it. Franchising is successful here. They expand to other countries, or franchise like Cafe to You is Australia-based, and they come here. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There have been some interesting franchise opportunities that have come from Australia that, have been on the show. We've had Quick Curb was one of the first interviews we ever did as a company. That was back in, I think, 2005. Who was the other one? Action International. Aren't they from? I think they're from Australia. I think that's Brad Sugars started that company. That was our third show.
Yeah, you're going back a few years now.
I sure am. 5 years is tough to go back, and try to, remember who's been on the show up to this point. But, so I'm really looking forward to having these guys on the show. I love coffee, and, the whole mobile thing I think is definitely a little different. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that as well. Our 250th show is right before Thanksgiving. 5 years of doing franchise interviews, and you and I spent probably about 6 weeks, 7 weeks talking about who we wanted to come on the show this year. And Steve Caldiera was our first choice, and was very happy that he approved. He said he would love to come on the show. He's the president and CEO of the International Franchise Association. And so Stephen Caldiera, president and CEO of the IFA, the world's oldest and largest organization representing the franchise industry. The IFA does so many wonderful things. I mean, they're a wonderful organization. And you can get more information by going to franchise.org. It says Mr. Caldiera has also served as managing director of the U.S. Public Affairs Practice for Burson Marsteller in New York City, where he developed and implemented communications and public policy strategies for several Fortune 100 companies and not-for-profit associations. His trade association experience includes serving as president and chief operating officer of the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation in Chicago, where he oversaw programs to develop, promote, and provide educational and training solutions for the food service industry. Yeah, I can go on and on. I mean, talking about his resume. I mean, we could spend a whole show just talking about that. I mean, his background is quite intimidating. When you read it, you say,
it'll just be fun hearing the state of where franchising is now, and his view on everything, the good, the bad, and the exciting things going on, and the IFA's out there fighting for us and out in the world. Fighting Congress, trying to get the message out, telling them the importance of needing financing. to grow the industry. Always trying to stay ahead of the curve. It's amazing, franchising is a major force. Look at all the numbers going up every year with the total amount of retail businesses. It's a high percentage that are franchise establishments. It's
you're right on, Don. You said I'm just looking at the numbers here. Let's see, U.S. franchise industry says, which consists of, this is the United States franchise industry, by the way, which consists of more than 825,000 U.S. franchise businesses that create nearly 18 million jobs and $2.1 trillion of economic activity annually. Why would you want to mess with that? You know what I mean? It's
right.
I would really say it is the heart of America, and small business, and it's a shame sometimes that we have to fight, but that's politics too, isn't it? So,
right.
But I understand he's doing a wonderful job. I've heard some amazing things about him, and I see a lot of press. There's a lot written about Steve as well. I mean, every time I subscribe to all the different newsletters, and I see his name all over the place. So that's how he's working hard for franchising. So really looking forward to having him on the show. That's going to be fun. December 8th, we're going to be speaking to a king, Joe LaBava, the franchise king, and we're going to have Warren Grecius on the show. I think it's December 15th, Don. His new book just came out, the best damn management book ever. And Warren is one of those people that this will be the third time we've had him on the show. And he kind of has an open invitation to our show because he's really amazing. I mean, what a wonderful speaker. I mean, every time I listen to him, I know you feel the same way. You just get inspired, don't you? You just want to get on the phone and start selling, So it's too bad we can't talk to him every day, But so they're looking forward to that. What else? We have the 12 days of franchising. That's going to be starting on December 13th, where every day you're going to get to hear a different show, that we've done throughout the last 5 years. And perhaps you want to buy your loved one a franchise for Christmas, or the holidays, who knows. Our last show, we met with Bob Wright, COO, Chief Operating Officer of Charlie's Grilled Subs, headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. I think they're up to about 400 locations. I don't even think my stats were correct. They're in about a dozen or so countries. They just recently hit a milestone. They just hit that 25-year mark, which I've always heard in franchising that's always been significant. To hit that 25-year mark is really a big deal. I remember when we had Rita's on the show.
Or hitting your first, 100 units and 250 units and 500. But, also time in business is very important. He's very excited, was really good at just talking about the franchise and the history and how well things are going.
Yeah, I mean, I like this model too, Don, right? I mean, there's a lot of things I liked about this particular franchise. They have some interesting strategies, I think, when it comes to location. I think it sounds like it's a fairly simple business model, and I've always felt that those typically make the best types of franchise systems, something that's pretty easy to duplicate, isn't it?
Right.
So I like that. Strong training program, good history, over 400 franchises throughout the country. So I mean that really adds to the whole personality, I think, of the franchise. And it's a wonderful historic story too about how this gentleman, gets off at the wrong exit in South Philly, and he tries a Philly cheesesteak. And for our listeners, because our listeners are all over the world, we've never had a true Philly cheesesteak. I mean, it is out of this world when you have one. It really is fascinating, and he brought it back to Ohio and became a big hit. So good for
such
them.
a good sandwich that there's a few franchise systems that have based off Philly cheesesteak sandwich, as well as other types of foods. Everybody has their own niche and specialty, but it looks like they're probably the leader in that segment.
That's interesting how they were their locations too. I think they were looking at airports Army and Air Force bases were also, I think, becoming popular locations. I think their first location, if I remember correctly, Don, I think it was on a college, wasn't it, or something like that? Or was it right next to a college, Ohio State University campus? I said, wow, what a great location for, this type of franchise.
How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just it's amazing. So, and the guests that we're having on the show today too, they've had some interesting strategies when it comes to location as well. So we'll talk about that as well. So I know you had an interesting article that we want to get to. Actually, two, hopefully, that we can get to.
One is from the street, Marty. Facebook Teams with Franchise Group. Lori Kolakowski out of Washington. Facebook is teaming with the IFA to spur growth at small franchises in a challenging economy. The trade association, representing more than 800,000 U.S.-based franchise establishments, said Facebook has become an official member with the intent to connect franchisors and franchisees with tools to grow the franchise systems and better connect with customers and their communities. Franchise companies are looking to grow, which means they are looking for ways to find prospective franchisees. Additionally, they want existing franchisees to connect more effectively with local customers, IFA President and CEO Steve Caldera says, who's going to be on our show in a couple of weeks. As a world leader in connecting people in a trusted environment online, Facebook's involvement with the IFA will help franchise businesses drive sales and create jobs, he says in a statement. Facebook tools such as ad targeting and local check-in abilities can particularly help smaller franchises acquire and engage with customers. Starting next year, Marty, Facebook will also award $10 million worth of free advertising to some 200,000 local businesses through $50 worth of ad credits each. Wow. Okay, so
interesting.
This is, the world has changed to this type of stuff.
Right.
And the franchise industry is just adapting to it. Everything's so competitive. You gotta have every competitive edge, do every possible thing to get business. I know I'm on LinkedIn, which is a popular business social media site, and you sort of have to be on there. Just like years ago, to be in business, you have to have a website. And nowadays, you have to have a cell phone. It's the same with businesses being on Facebook and LinkedIn and everything. It's just something you have to do. These are the times.
Yeah, it's got to be tough too for I would say, like, I hate to say, like, the old timers. You know what I mean? I'm talking like guys like my dad's age or your father's age. Where that's been, I think, a tough change for a lot of them in business. I've read a lot of stories like that where sometimes certain people have to step down and say, you know what, this technology thing is a little too much at times, and you have to kind of like pass the torch to someone who is an expert in those things, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or, and Franchise Interviews does all that stuff, we have our own LinkedIn page, we're on Twitter and things like that, and it's been interesting, it's been an interesting and learning experience working with those tools, so yeah, absolutely.
Here's something, Marty, Las Vegas Business Press by Laura Emerson, conference to share strategies for smart franchising. Everyone likes a sure thing, especially when it comes to their pocketbook. The franchise industry is on the rise with 784,000 franchises projected to be in business by year's end. I just read this article that said 825, but according to the 2011 Franchise Business Economic Outlook, which is published by the IFA, the reason Patrick Walls, Chief Operating Officer at Charities, said it's because people want a sure thing. Investors are more likely to pour their money into these turnkey businesses during uncertain economic times than an independent venture. People are comfortable with household names, Wall says. They know what they're going to get. First of all, nothing's ever a sure thing, but obviously their chance is much higher with a franchise. When you order a Big Mac from one McDonald's restaurant, chances are it will taste exactly the same at McDonald's across the country. Franchisors can control the quality and specifications of a product by limiting the suppliers for which franchisees order. For instance, Capriati's uses Butterball brand turkey at all of its locations. If another turkey supplier were to try to sell its meat to the company, it would have to go through Capriati's corporate office to do so. Wall said he has seen potential suppliers approach local franchisees and market to them, which is incorrect. We have very strict criteria. They cannot make the decision. That's interesting, just putting a little twist on why a franchisor stays successful is their consistency and nationwide and working with the same suppliers and vendors and not having franchisees going off, and it's probably part of their franchise agreement, going off trying to get some better deal, local supplier, vendor, and the quality changes, which means that it's not consistent. So, franchising works because of the consistency, and because when you sign on, you already have all these relationships established. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do you don't have to do anything. Hopefully, you did your homework when you signed up with the franchise. Didn't have a problem with different types of expenses and overhead and suppliers and vendors.
Yeah, and this is where you really have to understand franchising. And I think this is where, if I could say so myself, Don, that we've done a very good job at educating our listeners on franchising, letting them know exactly what it is, because there might be some people out there that say, well, why can't I use a different supplier? I might get a better price or whatever it may be. I mean, one of my favorite historic stories is when McDonald's first opened up in Russia, and the guys from Chicago, they went out to teach the farmers how to plant a potato. Because you were mentioning that consistency is very important, isn't it?
Right.
Because a potato in Russia, I imagine, tastes a little different from an Idaho potato, right? I mean, there's got to be some difference, I guess, if you were to taste, one versus the other. So that consistency is very important. So you can't have the fries tasting different in Moscow versus, Cold Snack, New Jersey. So, yeah, it's you need that consistency. Yeah, it's very important. So and people need to understand that what they're getting into when they're buying a franchise. It's really following that system, and it is important to keep things consistent.
Right.
So absolutely. Did you mention anything else in the article, or?
No. Well, it went on, but
it goes on and on.
Me doing 250 shows, I have to make an executive decision on when to cut off an article. And,
exactly. You're tired after 250 shows and 5 years, So, well, good news. It looks like our guest Bill has called in. So why don't we do this, Don? We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Good articles.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Franchise Interviews. For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the franchipreneurs of Own One. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Dunn, President and COO of the Auntie Anne's Franchise Opportunity. And Auntie Anne's has over 1,100 franchise units and is best known for its freshly baked, hand-rolled pretzels. And today we're going to be discussing how franchises choose Charities, as well as, of course, the Auntie Anne's Franchise Opportunity. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, hi, Marty. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well, Bill. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. And Bill, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson. And I know, Don, you wanted to say good morning to Bill.
Hey, Bill. Appreciate you coming on. I have 7-year-old twins who love Auntie Anne's pretzels, but then again, what young twins don't like the product, right?
That's right. Well, that's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Marty's in Pennsylvania. I'm over in New Jersey, so Auntie Anne's has been around our market for years. So it's been something that we've grown up with too.
That's great.
Absolutely. We always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning, Bill.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's where Auntie Anne's is headquarters.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And what were you doing before joining Auntie Anne's? I know you have an interesting background in history.
Well, I guess some might consider it interesting. Right before joining Auntie Anne's, I was with actually a privately held company called Coreflex Display and Packaging. Mm-hmm. We were in the point-of-purchase display industry, and we dealt with the largest consumer product companies in the world. And then we sold our company to Sunoco Coreflex, actually Sunoco Products out of Hartsville, South Carolina. They were a publicly traded company. They acquired us in 2004. So I remained on with the company for a few years and helped grow the overall company substantially over about a 9-year period to about $235 million in sales. But really my background before that, early in my career, I worked for my father in a family business that we owned 9 Wendy's old-fashioned hamburger restaurants in north central Florida. And actually, Wendy and I were in college together, who Wendy's is named after. She and I both attended the University of Florida back in the early 80s.
Wow, that's fantastic. Did you ever get a chance to meet Dave Thomas?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we were very good friends with the Thomas family.
Wow.
And participated in a number of events. And actually, Wendy had her college graduation party at my father's house in Gainesville.
Wow.
So yes, very close with the family. Obviously, over the years, we've lost touch. Although Wendy and I have attempted to get in touch with one another over the last couple of years, but it just hasn't worked out.
Oh, that's something.
Tell us a little bit, Bill, how when Auntie Anne started and when it began franchising.
Auntie Anne started with our co-founders Ann and Jonas Byler, and this was back in 1988. And the whole foundation of the company was started based on the premise of starting a company that would allow Jonas the opportunity to provide free counseling services for families in their local community of Gap. So right from the beginning, it was founded on the principles of giving back. So in 1988, they started a little farmers market stand in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And from there, they were just selling our original pretzel, which is a very core product of what we still have today. Hasn't changed a bit. And we started franchising in 1989. And that started, the first franchise store was actually on a Saturday's farmers market in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And then our actual venture outside of the farmers market, our first franchised location was in the regional mall here in Lancaster, the Park City Center Mall. So started franchising in 1989.
And why has it been so successful? Describe the franchise system and model on why it took off and why it's been so successful, besides just the core product itself.
Right, and I think we mentioned earlier that, so we started franchising in 1989, and 23 years later, we've got 1,100 locations around the world, 44 states and 23 countries. And what's made us so successful, I think, is not only we pride ourselves on the delicious products and the great customer service, but really it comes down to the relationship that we have with our franchise partners. We're very collaborative. We work together in a partnership to ensure their success, to make sure that we're following our threefold philosophy, which is fresh, hot, golden brown, soft pretzels with a friendly customer service and a sparkling clean store. I really don't think it was nothing monumental. It was just really keeping our eye on the ball and understanding that our franchise partners are the key to our success. And that collaborative effort with them to continuously evaluate as a franchisor, how do we get better every day and what we're doing, and being willing to identify the things that we aren't doing very well and addressing those to get better. So, it's been a wonderful relationship that we've had with our franchise partners, and really they are the key to our success. And certainly, it's all about people. And whether it be, once again, our franchise partner, our employees here in Lancaster and around the country for that matter, who are out there on behalf of Auntie Anne's providing an ongoing support for our franchise partners. And then, of course, our loyal guests that come to our counters every day. And if I were to step back and look at, the foundation of the company and the vision of Ann and Jonas Byler of giving back. So I think all of those coming together and not losing a focus on the values and the culture that we've established over the 23 years of giving back and focusing on people has been instrumental in our ongoing success over these 23 years.
I'm working on my dissertation, Bill, and I've come across a lot of different definitions on franchising, and one of my favorite is there's a great source out there that defines franchising as a relationship, and I always thought that was one of the best definitions that I've come across, and I've looked at about 100 of them, so it's great to see that, that is so important to Auntie Anne's. We learned recently that Auntie Anne's recently partnered with Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation, and maybe you could tell our listeners what is ALSF and why did Auntie Anne's decide to make its national charitable partner?
Well, I think that if I could, the relationship component that you just mentioned, I think that's pretty much the core of whether it be an individual success or a corporation success. Yeah. Being able to establish a relationship of trust and collaboration to where you can share ideas and respectfully challenge one another on the continuous improvement part. And, we've, over the number of years, actually 97% of our franchise partners would recommend Auntie Anne's to an entrepreneur because of their satisfaction, ongoing satisfaction with the relationship that we have and the support that we provide. And as we look at our partner, I think what we've done is, once again, it's a very collaborative effort. And we chose, Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation with a number of different, we'll call them shareholders, and being a part of that decision-making. And, once again, it was important for us as a system to look at a charitable foundation that had the same principles and guidelines and culture and vision that Auntie Anne's was established with. So as we went through this process, and it was about a year-long process, we involved our franchise partners in helping us. We involved our agency, the Richards Group, in helping us put together a tool to help us use and identifying who we should go interview. And through that, through that process, and once again, very collaborative, and we wanted to make sure that we made the right decision. We were able to identify that Alex's Lemonade Foundation was the perfect fit. And, Alex's began with a 4-year-old little girl and who had pediatric cancer. And she, at the age of 4, she told her parents that, I want to start a lemonade stand. And for a number of years, actually, probably before that, she talked about it, and they were like, they kind of dismissed that. But finally they said, well, Alex, why do you want to do this lemonade stand? And her comment was, I want to be able to raise money that I can give to the doctors to help them find a cure. And one day, I think the first day that she created this, along with the help of her brothers and certainly her mom and dad, she was able to raise $2,000.
Yeah.
And a 4-year-old little girl going through what she was going through, to have that vision about caring and giving back is very inspirational.
Yeah.
And
amazing story.
At the time of her passing, when she was 8 years old, what happened? Her stand then kind of took a life of its own. Other communities wanted to get involved and start their own lemonade stands. And during that time period, right before it took her life, her inspiration, along with others, had raised over $1 million towards the cure for this disease that took her life. And and then, of course, after she passed away, Liz and Jay Scott, who are Alex's parents, began Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. And since inception has raised more than $45 million for childhood cancer, just, one cup of lemonade at a time. And it's quite remarkable. And we feel that very privileged to have been able to identify Alex's Lemonade Stand and what they stand for and what Auntie Anne's has stood for 23 years. So it's been exciting.
How difficult is it, Bill, to rally a large franchise system around a common cause? I mean, again, because you deal with so many units and so many franchisees. Is it difficult?
I think difficult would be too strong of a word. I think it comes back to the relationship that we have with our franchise partners. We're very fortunate. And, once again, it's our collaboration with them, and they're side by side with us as we go through this decision-making process. So, if your stakeholders are involved from the beginning,
right,
then it really becomes a very easy decision to make. And, we did surveys with our franchise partners, once again, utilizing our agency, the Richards Group, who, understands our brand and what other, certainly Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation is a brand, and how they complement one another. So really, I would say it took about a year, but I would not say it was a difficult process. Because once again, from the beginning, all of our franchise partners understood the foundation in which we were built on.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that it was difficult.
And how about the whole, strategy of getting this mission in front of your customers in the future?
Well, as we're going through the process of this collaboration and identifying the right charitable partner to go forward with, to get it out in front of everybody, with the help of TRG and the presence and look that we've got 1,100 stores around the world, we'll say 50 to 900 domestically. It gives us a great vehicle to get it out in front of our guests who may or may not be familiar with Alex's Lemonade Stand. And through the local presence, and certainly a fair amount of this money stays locally. So it helps our franchise partners in their community involvement in being able to generate a vehicle for charitable giving that's going to help not only nationally but in their local area. So I'm not sure if I really answered did I answer your question there?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So what advice, Bill, would you give?
If I could say, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
One other thing. Certainly, the core guest that comes to our counters are moms with children, and so certainly pediatric cancer and that charitable giving resonates with our core customer. So there's a kind of a natural coming together of something that's meaningful for, certainly all of our guests that come to our counters, but, the majority of the folks that come to our counters are moms with children. So it really resonates with our target consumer.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes sense. What advice would you give, Bill, to other companies or other franchises that are looking to form a charitable partner? I mean, what have you learned from this whole process?
I think that it kind of goes back to some of what we've talked about, is if there's somebody similar in the franchising world who's looking to partner with a charitable partner, it starts with the relationship that you have with your franchise partners.
Yeah.
To making sure that you understand and there's a common bond. And there is no short-term proposition. It takes time. It takes careful execution. Generally, there are two words that don't go together unless you're just downright lucky, and those are the words fast and right.
Yeah.
And so it does take time, and it takes an investment of people, of their thoughts, and it's just something that you have to believe in. It has to be at the core of your soul, the importance to partner with the right organization, that when you bring, two strong brands together, that everyone benefits. So, once again, cause marketing is not a short-term proposition. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Destinations begin and end, but a journey of giving is something that lasts forever. And you want to make sure that you make the right decisions at the right time.
Wow, it's well said, isn't it, Don?
Yeah, no doubt.
Makes a lot of sense. Jumping back to the franchise opportunity, Bill, what's the training like? Most of our listeners we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. They know they want to buy a franchise. They just, they don't know where they want to begin. What's the training like once someone decides that they want to be part of this whole thing?
Well, the training, the training almost starts from the first interview. And for somebody that is interested in joining the Auntie Anne's family and becoming a franchise partner, and it's the relationship, once again, that starts from day one, that everybody understands that we are partners in this, and we are here to serve our prospective franchise partners and ongoing. It's not a relationship that begins and ends. So as through the interview process, and we're sharing information about Auntie Anne's and how it was founded and the premise and which it was founded upon, and we're learning about the individuals also. Really that's where the training begins. And I think that what happens sometimes is that we forget the importance of that initial contact with that prospective franchise partner. So as we go through that process, and they have made the decision that, Auntie Anne's is a great organization, and we've got to be a part of it. And the enthusiasm that comes with that, we have a pretzel university here in Lancaster at our offices, where our prospective franchise, or actually once somebody has decided to join, that we have a week's training that they come in. We have the training right here in our office building. They get to meet all of our employees that are in the office, and it starts with a greeting. Welcome to the family, where we join on Monday mornings at 8:30 for those folks that are here for training, and we welcome them to Lancaster. We welcome them to Auntie Anne's. And the message that I always like to share with these folks is, while you're here, have fun. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to meet a lot of folks, but most importantly, you need to have fun. Yeah. And enjoy your time while you're here, and with the understanding that as you're learning everything from how to properly mix the ingredients for the dough to the customer service component, have fun while you're doing it, because that will resonate with the guest that comes to the counter, to provide them the best experience, and that makes that guest want to come back. Because
right,
I'm not in the stores every day. Really, the face of Auntie Anne's are our franchise partners and their crews that are in the store interacting with our guests every day. So we have a 5-day training program here. One of those days, we actually take them to one of our training stores, which is here in Lancaster, where they get to spend a day in the store, actually what it's like in a mall environment, interacting with guests, and so it's a real world setting. And then as they go out, once, especially for a new franchise partner, we actually have a trainer that will go to the store for the opening to spend time with them and work with their crews to help them provide that threefold philosophy of Auntie Anne's. And but it doesn't stop. Then we have the folks that are in the field that are traveling around, spending time with our franchise partners and helping them analyze their business, help them perfect their inventory controls. So we have a number of different tools that we provide ongoing, and the service that we're committed to providing that I think is important, and it's been instrumental in our success over the 23 years at Auntie Anne's.
And who have been your franchisees, Bill? You've met a lot of them. What were they doing prior to becoming a franchisee? Has it been a diverse background, or how would you describe that?
I would think, Marty, it's been very diverse. Mm-hmm. And we have some that have, because we're 23 years old, we've got some folks that started in the system, right out of school. Wow. That really learned business as they were operating a store. Then we have very sophisticated, experienced business folks who some have been in a franchisee-franchisor relationship, others haven't. They've come from the corporate world where, certainly over the last, say 3 or 4 years, there's been a change in the dynamics of our working environment. And there are folks out there that are looking for opportunities to invest money in their own business that have come from the corporate world, so this would be their first venture into owning their own business. And the franchising concept gives them all of the tools to help them be successful, so they're not having to recreate the wheel, and the ongoing support that we provide. And then once again, we've got others out there that may have an interest in more than one franchise concept who have the experience. So it's a very diverse group. There's no cookie cutter franchise partner. Very diverse.
Yeah, and I think that adds to the franchise too, Bill, doesn't it? It's having that diversity, especially at the number you guys are at now. I think it's probably certainly added to the character and the personality of Auntie Anne's as well. Very much so.
Has Auntie Anne's ever considered, or maybe it's something you've done with strategy, with co-branding with other concepts? Is that ever something that's maybe in your plans or something you've been doing?
Yes, it has been something that we have done, and we continue to do. We have a number of co-branded stores throughout the country, and so, depending on the venue, the part of the country, that co-brand may be different. Certain brands have certain strengths in their area of the country that they may not have in other parts. So you have to be very diligent in your analysis and your overview of really who is the right co-brand partner given the environment that you're in, and also looking at what kind of culture is there, and is that a fit, or does it potentially pose a challenge? And I think, so yes, Don, we do have a number of co-brand, and we continue to look for opportunities. And Marty, back to your point, has the diversity within our franchise community helped us? You bet. What that's enabled us to do is when you have a diverse portfolio of franchise partners, to a certain extent, they each bring something different to the table. Now, they've got a common goal in operating a business and being able to provide in their local community or for their family. However, each one has their own ideas, and I encourage our franchise partners to bring forth ideas and things that we may not think of. So it's that, once again, it comes back to the relationship, the collaborative environment that we encourage and foster that allow us to bring out new and better things rather than having them feel as though we have all the answers. I think I'd be naive and as an organization to think that we have all the answers. We need that ongoing communication that helps us continue to grow and prosper.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of historic events in franchising too, Bill. The famous, it's one of the famous stories is the fillet of fish. I guess with McDonald's. The idea of coming from a franchisee. And I think it's wonderful that you can tell that your franchise system is probably even a little more open to advice from your franchisees than maybe some other systems. That I know I've studied. Over the last 10 years. So, and I think that's so important.
And they are. We've got a franchise community that is very proactive in sharing what they're hearing from their guests that are coming to the counters that they would like. Or, one of our products was actually brought to us from one of our franchise partners, and that was our pretzel dog, which has been an outstanding addition to our menu that was brought to us by a franchise partner. So as much, we want to make sure that they are, we have our food science and technology people here along with our R&D department, but we certainly look forward to our franchise partners bringing us ideas here at Auntie Anne's that we can then, from an operational standpoint, make sure that we can address any of the operational issues that give us the opportunity to test the product and to make sure that that all the food safety guidelines are being met. To make sure that we're protecting not only the integrity of the product and the brand, but also to make sure that we're providing an outstanding product to the guests that come to the counters that's being served in a safe manner at all times.
That's great you have that attitude of having the franchisees give input. Not all franchise systems are like that, and I think the best franchises have that type of relationship. What are some of the plans for the future for Auntie Anne's?
Well, as we look to go forward, we're planning in 2011. Our original plan, I think we're planning on opening 119 domestic and international stores. So 66 of those will be in the U.S. and we're positioned to hit our 23rd year of positive growth. So we're continuing to look at areas where we maybe do not have the market presence that we would like. And, we've been very fortunate in pursuing the large markets, but now there's a focus on the middle market opportunities. Specifically the mall locations where we're looking for local entrepreneurs for us to partner with to help them create their enterprise value. We continue to grow in colleges and universities as well as airports. Our most recent opening at an airport was at Columbus International in Ohio. And certainly looking at the urban development opportunities where you have highly populated cities or metro areas where malls don't exist, where you have a high level of foot traffic, and then how do we evaluate our business to make sure that model fits within a storefront. So I like to make sure that we're continuing to keep our eye on the ball as it stands right now, but at the same time have the discipline to be a visionary, 2, 3, 5 years out, and seeing what trends are out there, what market conditions are changing or have changed that create opportunities. So I'm really excited about the future. I think there are a number of opportunities that are ahead of us that, if I were to think back 23 years ago when Ann and Jonas started the company and where it is today, it's amazing. And I still think that there are amazing things ahead for Auntie Anne's and our franchise partners, and I'm committed to focusing on that and providing everybody opportunities going forward.
That's fantastic. What's the best way, Bill, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee? Is there any websites they can go to, any numbers they should call?
Yes, there are. We certainly have our website, auntie-annes.com.
Okay.
And there's a number of information on there, and certainly you can Google us, do some research. I think they'll be very impressed with what they have to see, and don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be more than happy to answer questions and provide information.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you again, Bill. You've been a fantastic guest, and again, Don and I are both fans of the product, so you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Hope you all have a great day, and thank you for taking an interest in Auntie Anne's and Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation.
Thank you so much, Bill. You have a great day today.
Bye.
So long, Bill. Good job.
Great show, huh, Don?
Yeah, as we knew it would be.
It's absolutely. Again, something different, and we covered a lot of territory in that particular show, which makes me happy, So they're doing a lot of great things, and we'll keep our eye on them, and we'll have them come back next year.
Yeah, right.
And very inspirational. So good job, Don. And again, for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com, franchisefunding.net, go franchise.com, franchiseworldradio.com, and I'll be talking to you next week, Don. We'll be talking coffee next week, won't we?
Yep, definitely. Have a great day.
Okay. Take care. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a great day.